Hey guys, welcome back to Smoking Pellets. Paul here with you again today, and Smoking Pellets is my site to do with everything with cooking on my pellet smoker. Today I'm going to do a lamb ragu. Now this continues my little foray into trying to make things just a little bit more complicated. I'm not a chef by trade, so I've been watching a few barbecue shows lately and they've been doing a lot. You know, they get given a piece of lamb and they pull all these things out and they use herbs and they use spices and they, you know, play with what they call playing with flavors and stuff like that. And I mean, if you've seen any of my stuff, it tends to just be get a bit of meat, throw some rub on it, smoke it, shred it or carve it or whatever, and off we go. And whilst that always turns out to be really, really good, I'm just trying to expand things a little bit here. So what I'm doing today is a lamb ragu, which, granted, this is something we do in a slow cooker a lot. We just get a boneless lamb shoulder, we throw it in a slow cooker with all the stuff that you can see here and just let it sit for 8 hours till the lamb falls apart and off we go. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in the smoker. So I've got myself a little rub here, which is just basically some paprika, onion, garlic powder, salt and pepper, which obviously normally I use in most of my rubs. But what I've added here is some mixed herbs. It calls for rosemary and I think oregano, dried rosemary and oregano in the recipe. I didn't have any, so I've just used mixed herbs, which we use on our roast lambs all the time. So I'm just going to put some olive oil on the lamb and then throw that rub on and let it sit in. Now basically what I'm going to do with this then is I'm going to smoke it for probably about 2.5 to 3 hours at 107 or 225. I just want it to cook. I'm going to get it to about 145 Fahrenheit, 65 or so Celsius. Just going to let it cook. When that's nearly ready, we'll come back and I'll introduce you to my very, very rudimentary stove skills as I make myself up a little bit of start making the ragu sauce. So I've got some fresh herbs, fresh garlic. I'm trying to use fresh herbs in that sort of thing these days. Obviously you can use dried and whatever you want. Some tomatoes, some tomato paste, some stock, some red wine, which I haven't got out yet. And we'll make up the sauce and then basically this will just braise in the sauce till it falls apart. I'm hoping that the smoky flavour from the first part of being smoked on the smoker or cooked on the smoker will actually transmit into I don't think that's the right word, will come across in the final cook. The only other thing I did with this is I did trim a little bit of the fat off. What we do find in the slow cooker is when it starts to fall apart, we actually do pull out a lot of the sinew and the fat that doesn't render down. And as I'm only cooking for 2 or 3 hours on the smoker, that's not going to render down that time, so I've cut it off. You may or may not do that, totally up to you. Anyway, so I'll get smoking and I'll come back when it's close to finished and we will start making the sauce for it to braise in later on. Speak to you then. Okay, we are back. So I've got my lamb, it's hit that 65 degrees Celsius point, about 140 odd Fahrenheit. So it is now ready. I've just taken off the smoke and it's going to sit there and just rest for a couple of minutes while I do everything else. So what I'm going to do now is make the ragu sauce. So I've got some onion and some carrot, which I'm about to saute in some oil. I've got the pot on there ready to go with that. After a little while, I'll add the garlic. And then after a little while from that, I'll add the stock, the tomatoes, tomato paste. I'll add the tomato paste in the middle there and the red wine. Put the lamb in and just basically let it simmer down for a while until that pulls apart. The recipe does ask for celery as well. I hate celery with a passion, so if you like celery, add celery. I mean, to be honest, you can turn this into a stew, you can add potatoes, you could add sweet potato, you could add anything you wanted to it as you go. I'm keeping it simple. This is what we normally throw in a slow cooker. As I mentioned, we just throw all in the slow cooker with the lamb uncooked and let it go. So what I'm hoping is I get a good smoky flavour. As I say, this has been on for around nearly 3 hours, just shy of 3 hours till it's hit that temperature. It'll have a good smoke ring. I mean, I could wrap it all in alfoil and put it back in the smoker with all these ingredients if I wanted to as well. So let's go and get this fried down and we'll get the lamb into the ragu and we'll let it fester away for the rest of the afternoon. Okay, so that has braised, that has reduced down. I've got the onion, the carrot, the garlic and tomato paste and red wine in there. That is simmered down. I'm now going to add the lamb. And once I've added the lamb, I'll add the broth and the tinned tomatoes and the herbs. I'm not sure I mentioned the herbs. I've got some fresh oregano and some fresh oregano, I think it's called, we call it oregano in our Australian accents, and some basil as well. So they're just loosely chopped. I'll throw them in, set it to simmer, turn the lid on, and we'll come back and see how we get. Oh, salt and pepper as well. I haven't added that, so I'll add that as we go. Talk to you then. And we are done. My lamb ragu is ready. I don't know how well, hopefully you can see that in the camera, but the lamb is just pulled apart. I've just loosely hit it with a fork and it's falling apart. The flavour in the sauce is really, really good. I'm glad I put those fresh herbs in. I'm just trying to find a good piece of lamb, as I was looking through before, and it's all sunk back down. So on the piece of lamb here I've got, you can see it's nice and juicy, nice and loose, for want of a better term. I can see a smoke ring on the top there as well, which means that you can see where the smoke's come in. My chief taste tester, you want to come over and try it? I want to know if you can taste the smokiness in it.
Okay.
As I say, this is something that we often cook in a slow cooker, but I smoked the lamb first. Smoked for about 3 hours. It took about another 3 or 4 hours just on a simmer in the pot. How is it?
I think there's definitely a smoky flavour when you first have some.
Yeah. How's the sauce? Amazing. Excellent. All right, so there you go. If you have the time, I would strongly suggest, if you're making a ragu, or if you turn this to a stew or something like that, I strongly suggest smoking your lamb first, because the results are really good. I have tasted it before I came on camera. I'm not going to chew it now because it goes straight through the microphone. But yeah, there is a really good smoky flavour to the meat. It's falls apart, shreddable, whatever you want to call it. And it took about between 6 and 7 hours to cook. Use fresh herbs and the like in the sauce. We're going to serve this up later on some mashed potatoes. So I'll take a photo of that and put it in the post so you can see how it turned up. As I mentioned before, you could throw pasta in there or do a polenta if you know how to do that as well. Anyway, have fun. Comment below if you've tried lamb ragu on the smoke yourself, or if you need any help or have any questions, let me know. Speak to you then. Bye.